Anthony, you've had a bit of time now since the last game of the season against Bolton. How do you reflect on the season that's just gone?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of positives that you can look at and take from the season as a whole. The number one being how many players we've progressed through into the 21s and pushed on from there. And a lot of players have done that and got a lot of experience in 21s football, and that's the job of all the staff that work with the under-18s to do that. There's been a fair few players who have signed new professional contracts, Amani Little, Will Wood being two, and to add to the already existing crop of players who have got contracts, and a lot of players have got good value game time in that under-21s, which is Will Wood, Marnie Little as well, Ollie Cook, Alfie Jones have played, Harley Willard, Marcus Barnes as well. So it's been good and productive in terms of the players that we've progressed through, and that's the aim of the game really. In terms of the season, it's been probably varied in terms of results. We've had some really good patches of form in terms of performances and also results, but been pleasing with the type of football we've been playing and the getting our philosophy across and playing the Southampton way.
Going back to the start of the season, seems a long time ago now, but it wasn't an ideal start of the season, but in around October things started to pick up, and you went on a run with, I think you scored 10, conceded just 2, and the lads sort of seemed to really kick into gear then.
Yeah, well, in terms of the league form, in terms of performances, we're actually playing quite well at the start of the season. We had a good game against Chelsea that we narrowly lost, West Ham as well. West Brom were quite unlucky in away from home. So in terms of playing wise, we were still playing well in those first 6 games, but maybe not just picking up the results that we needed. Things sort of changed in terms of the results, but in terms of the way we played and the performances, it was quite similar to the start of the season. So we didn't change anything drastically. We kept working on the basics, which you always do, the principles of play and whatnot. So it was good to see some of those rewards come off and the players go on a little bit of a run in terms of results, because sometimes it's good for them to get that reward for playing well and putting in all the hard work. I think that we had a decent FA Youth Cup run, beating West Ham at home 2-1, which was pleasing in a tough game, and then obviously in a really fairly difficult match against Everton away from home, winning on penalty shootouts was really pleasing. It was disappointing that we didn't get through Leicester in a game probably that we'd fancy, but really good experience for the players, play at the stadium, play against the best teams and deal with the pressure of that cup competition.
And you mentioned before as well that the FA Youth Cup run started around that time with the game against West Ham. The lads had to deal with the occasion in a way there at St Mary's and against a tough side.
I think that's the idea of the Youth Cup, is to be able to deal with those conditions, the extra pressure, the added people coming to watch, playing at the stadiums. We obviously played at the stadium twice, St Mary's, which is always good, and then also playing at Goodison Park too. So you have to deal with those variabilities, and if the players want to go and play at the top level, they have to deal with that pressure. So it was a really good learning curve for them.
There always seems to be a bit more excitement around the camp when the Youth Cup comes around, and obviously after the West Ham game there was even more of that when you got Everton in the next round. It was a bit of a hard-fought contest in the end, and it was a long one, but the lads did well to stick in and win that.
Well, it was. I mean, Everton have got a very good side. They had many players who played in the first team there, and I think they really fancied their chances to push on, not just past us, but to go far in the tournament, make the semis and the final. And I think possibly maybe underestimated us a little bit, but we did our homework and had a clear game plan. And within the 90 minutes, I think we played quite well and created a couple of chances. In extra time, it was sort of backs to the wall defending. We had to drop quite deep and really fight for our lives, and we held on for the penalties in the end. But yeah, I was really pleased with the players and the character that they showed during that game. There were some really good performances, and obviously Harry Isted were making the saves on the penalty shootout, but some really good defensive displays from all of the back four. Ollie Cook, Cole Clinton, Will Wood did quite well in those games, so it was pleasing that they showed the character to fight and hang in there and see it through to the end.
They're qualities that are nice to see at this age, I guess, as well, because a lot of the focus goes on to the technical aspects, but those battling qualities are just as important in a way in games like that.
Yeah, well, when you look at the players who have progressed through the system here into the 21s and into the first team, they've all got those qualities. So it's qualities that we want to instill in the players and nurture and develop, and I know we've got an environment here that does that, so we want to make sure that, yeah, they realise that they need those qualities no matter how talented a football player they are to progress through and play for the first team here at the club.
I think it was 11 of the 14 players who you used in that game against Everton had already played under-21s football. I think another one, Harry Isted's been on the bench for them recently. That's an incredible stat, really. And how pleasing is that for you to see your players gaining experience at a higher level so early on in their careers?
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, we never really call them my players or the 18s players. They're in a professional development phase where they flow through the 18s and the under-21s, and I think that's the best way to do it. The good thing about here at this club is they definitely get the opportunity, if they're good enough, to progress and go through into the 21s and the first team. And the same works with the under-16s as well. They've had a lot of game time and exposure recently in the under-18s, which is great for them. So the better players get the opportunity to play up and test themselves with the best players, and that's the best way that we find is to progress them on. So yeah, it's pleasing that there's the opportunity there in the 21s to get the opportunity to play, and I know the 16s feel the same coming into the 18s.
It was disappointing to go out the FA Youth Cup to Leicester in the end in March, but the end of the season saw some improved performances if you weren't perhaps getting some of the results that you maybe deserved. Was it pleasing to see the way that they were playing at this point though? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, when you play with young players, there's going to be a lot of mistakes and they need to learn from that, and you could possibly look at some of the goals we've conceded and say there were sort of some individual errors in there and maybe not taking our chances when we're on top. But I think that's all part of it really, in terms of the players' development and the team's development as well. When you're playing younger players, you might not get as many results, but it'll be the best thing for the players. So we've stuck to that philosophy all the way through. But it was disappointing not to get through against Leicester in the Youth Cup, and hopefully we've learnt from that. And I know the first years who played in that game are really keen next year to put that right and go as far as we can in the tournament. I mean, if we'd won that game, it would have been the first time in many years we'd got to that quarter-final stage. So that's got to be the goal for next season for the squad and for the players.
Is it that playing style that you mentioned and the philosophy that enables the players to fit in so well when they make the step up and go into the higher squads?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone needs to be playing the same way, and right the way through the ages, from the foundation phase into the youth development phase, pushing on into the professional development phase. There needs to be a clear progression, and I think we've got that here, which is important. So the players can adapt and go and play, and it's not about a formation or anything. It's about teaching them the principles of playing. Hopefully each age group they pass through, they can add another layer onto their development, and that helps them progress.
And moving on to the latter stage of the season, the playoffs at the end there's some more positive results there, and with a younger team, the players like Olafile Mola, Stuart Wilkin, even Jake Hallett in goal, who came in and made a few good performances. Nice to see players stepping up at that stage of the season. Well,
yeah, a lot of the first years got their opportunity. Maybe Stu and Fella didn't play a lot of games at the start of the season, but they really kicked on and did well with some good performances, but scoring goals and getting assists. And also Harley Willard started to play or get some more rewards for the good play that he'd been doing towards the end of the season. And yeah, there were a lot of the under-16s for next year that got an opportunity. I think the week before last we played Arsenal, and 6 or 7 of the under-16s played in that game in unfamiliar positions sometimes as well. So it really showed that we can go and play against those better teams and give the younger players a chance. So it's a positive for those 16s to get a little taste of 18s football before they need to step into it and have a big pre-season next year.
On a personal note, it's been your first season with the under-18s. How have you found it?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've enjoyed the challenge. I've been with the club now. This is my 5th season at the club. So I started as the under-14s coach for a couple of years, did the under-16s for 2 years, and now doing the 18s. And I've been lucky enough to find a club that's let me sort of coach all the way through the ages. So I've had a good rapport with a lot of the players, and all the second years now as the under-18s, I've known them well, worked with them for the last 4 years anyway. So having known all the players before coming into the roles helped. But we've got a great support team here at the club from the other coaching staff, led by all the people here, obviously with Martin Hunter, Matt Hale, Radijidi, Vince Bartram give myself good support, as well as all the other staff. Medical S&C department are fantastic. Education always looks after the players as well, and the liaison people as well, and the analyst department with Andy Moschino leading the 18s has really been a help. So it's a real big team effort really. It's great for me to lead the team, but it's really important that everyone gets a mention in there, because it really is a team effort here to develop that one player. So that's been pleasing, and I've had fantastic support from everyone.
How big is that, the sort of continuity that you mentioned? You know a lot of the players, you've got a rapport with them. How big an impact does that have when it comes to dealing with them at this age? Yeah,
I think it's important because I've seen their progression, and like myself, I've progressed through the system and developed and improved as I've gone as a better coach. So I understand what they're going through. I've seen them grow up from sort of 12, 13 into sort of from boys into men, you could say. So I've had a big input into their development and understand what they've had to do. So yeah, I think it's been probably an advantage because I've known them quite well anyway. But like I said, we spend a lot of time together with all the staff, so all the staff tend to know them quite well too. So we know what needs to be expected and the standards that they need to meet. So it's been an advantage probably that way, you could say.
Is there anything that you'd say you've been able to learn this season with the under-18s that you perhaps didn't experience when you were with the 16s and the 14s?
Yeah, plenty, I think. Yeah, plenty. Dealing with players sort of off the field at this level has been really important, I've found. The technical and tactical is similar, but just another level up, obviously. But dealing with all the other off-field demands of sort of talking to the media and dealing with everything from players off the field, sort of becoming older and becoming exposed to more has been a challenge. So, and dealing with staff as well, and it does get highlighted more what the under-18s do compared to possibly some of the younger ages. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that. It's been a good challenge and one I've accepted, and really worked hard to do well at.
And finally, Anthony, what are your expectations for next season? What are you hoping to achieve, both as personally and with the team?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have a good pre-season. We want to bed in those young under-16s who are coming in as first-year scholars, working close in that professional development phase, to try and push as many of the under-18s into that 21s as possibly as we can, and try and get as many contracts for those players moving on into the future. I think that's really important for them. We obviously want to have a good FA Youth Cup run. We want to go one step further than we did last time. That would be the goal, and to be as competitive in the league as we can, but understanding that possibly when we play some of the young players, we want to bed the next year's under-16s in as well, who are under-15s now, and try and give them as much experience in the under-18s. But yeah, really try and push as many players through as we can and keep developing them to go and play in the first team.